Whoa, we are live. Hello and welcome to the HubNut live stream. Let's try and find some questions to answer from you, members of the public. Hopefully this sound is coming through loud and clear. I've got a microphone which I've not used for the first time. I'm hoping it's not creating lots of disturbing noise. But I'm going to kick straight into questions if I can open the right application on my phone, because this is my laptop I'm talking to you on, which is a new one for me, which means I can actually use my mobile as a mobile, like people used to in the old days. Hello, Aylesbury. Oh, good. Sounds good. That's good. If you hear some noise in the background, it's because my neighbours have just had a wood delivery. Absolutely perfect timing. But I didn't warn them I was going to be doing this, so I can't really complain. Right, here we go. List of questions asked by people like you. The first question from Sencast or Kencast, what's the fastest car you've ever driven? I'm pretty sure it's a Dodge Viper. That's certainly the fastest I've driven myself. That was on a racetrack, and that hit 130 miles an hour while I was driving it. Dodge Viper, very, very fast truck. Blue Discus Kid GS asks, will you have a HubNut meetup? Yes, I think we will have a HubNut meetup. I don't know how it's going to happen, but that is certainly the plan. Oh, hello, Manchester, Coventry, lots of other say hi to me, Darren. Yes, hello, Darren, and Sharon, indeed. Is your Rover automatic? It is. The light behind me is very bright, isn't it? Can we adjust that down a bit? Does that work better? I'm not sure if that does work better or not. It looks like Ellie's got a halo. I don't think there's much I can do about that. It's not very good lighting in here. Hello, Ammanford and Essex and Hull and Somerset. Wow, people all over the place. Scotland, Great Yarmouth, Bedfordshire. Wow. Careful with the meat. The police will deem it a car cruise. Yeah, there are ways to get around that. Don't hold them in places where it's a cruise. Solihull and the Black Country, West Midlands, areas definitely to avoid for cruising. So a HubNut meetup will happen. I haven't got very far with planning it. It will happen. Hello, Ohio and the Netherlands and Nuneaton and St. Helens and Bahrain. Wow, that's fantastic. Next one. Is there any chance of seeing you, asks Terrybus13. Is there any chance of seeing you and Tuck or Ellie at either Thirlstane or Selkirk vintage shows in the Scottish borders? Well, if I find details, maybe. I'd quite like to go to those events. I'm trying to keep all those questions. I've also got the list of questions here, so bear with me, people. The girl fans will want to see you in a mankini. No one wants to see that. I'm pretty sure Mrs. HubNut certainly doesn't want to see that. That would be horrendous. Bits and Bobs asks, Reliant Fox, when are we going to see that? There's a project in money parts like the Invacar. Once I start, I have actually just about started the project, only very slightly. I've started working on a tailgate hinge, kindly supplied to me by Adam Turpin and the Reliant Owners Club. And that is stage one, because that means I can start making the tailgate useful, which means it's easier to move bits from the front to the back. It's all linked in. Hello, London, Belfast, blah, 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 blah. Future plans we took? No idea. I do need to review a Mark III Cavalier. You're absolutely correct, Alistair. Back to the question list. Vampire Echidna was possibly my favourite name. Why did you choose to co-own the Mighty Dacia, and what are the future plans for that car? I think the reason we chose to co-own was pure simplicity. The original plan was about 6 of us were going to go to Bulgaria and buy a car each and drive home in a merry convoy of chaos. But in the end, there were only 2 of us going, and we thought it'd be more fun to do it together, and it was. I mean, Rich was the perfect co-driver. So it made it a real joy, and it's so much nicer to be able to share the experience all the way through each day rather than driving separately. It wouldn't be anywhere near as much fun, I don't think. So that's that question. What future plans? It's hibernating at the moment, but Rich has fitted a new carburetor. and he's been trying to do some filming as well. So I'm hoping there will be more Mighty Dacia stuff coming. Still got Mighty Dacia shirts at the HubNut shop if you haven't bought one already, but we are getting a bit low. I think we've even sold out of small and medium sizes now. So yeah, just order a larger one and then you can put it over your jumper. Sorted. Daniel Bowles asks, what features of a car do you consider to be the bare essentials for a modern daily driver? Power steering, ABS, infotainment, etc. And what has become overkill? Well, I think the Rover is kind of the ideal car, and infotainment is not something I want. It's just a distraction, to be honest. I'm happy the Rover's got a nice automatic gearbox. I think ABS does have benefits for a lot of drivers. If you haven't got the skill of cadence braking, I think ABS is a handy thing to have. And yeah, airbags possibly useful, but then most of the time they're not working. Oh wow! Thank you, Rotten Steam, for a donation live in the chat. That's very much appreciated. Yes, coffee break or tea break, always very much appreciated. So thank you very much. Anything else on that one? No, I think we've done that. Basically, I think everything's overkill. I mean, I will happily drive that car long distance. And the only reason I don't do more miles in LE is sheer noise. And I'm hoping to do something about that because we have some big plans for various adventures next year. Be interesting to see what happens. Ryan Williams, what do you think of Ford Scorpios 1994 to 1998? Are those the ugly ones? I probably have one, but I've already upset pretty much every Ford owner in the UK by saying Fords aren't my thing. And I think I've been slightly misrepresented there, just as Henry Ford was himself when he said history is more or less bunk. And his reference was the fact that history doesn't capture the exploits of the normal people. The ironic thing is his cars used to be owned by ordinary people, but now the values have gone so high, they're priced out of the range of most people. It's just insane, really. Right, back to the question list. This is the questions that people have asked on the channel. I'm trying to look at what's going on in the chat box as well, but yeah, there's lots going on. It's very hard to keep up. If I don't get through these, then I won't have achieved anything. We've already been doing 7 minutes. This is crazy. So yeah, Ford Scorpios probably have one. Yeah, never rule it out. Merzal asks, what would be the most underrated car at this moment in terms of value compared to price? I think anything with a Rover badge on it. 75 starting to get some collector interest, but 45s and 25s practically ignored. Lovely cars. Tudor Coca asks, what are the plans for the Matiz? The Matiz is away. It's been worked on by my friend Chris, but unfortunately he's had some complications not related to running a car business. And when you're self-employed and other problems kick in, it's very hard to keep a focus. So we're now 2 months on from when I last saw the Matiz. I don't believe it's got an MOT yet. That's his plan, is to get it MOT'd, and then I can pick it up and bring it home and finally have all the fleet together, because that hasn't happened since July, which is when I bought the Rover and the Matiz in one day. Which railway is it that passes your house? It's the Vale of Rydal Railway. It has closed for winter. Doing lots of improvements down at the Aberystwyth end. Lots of investment down there. Very exciting. JRL says, did you see a program called Witness on the BBC News Channel? A segment covering the history of the Invacar. I did. It first was screened a few weeks ago, actually. Quite an interesting look at the Invacar. There's some very good footage. So yeah, try and track that down on iPlayer or the BBC website. How does MOT work in Britain? MOT is every 12 months for a car once it reaches 3 years old. Although Tuck, the Invacar, is now MOT exempt. She's old enough that she doesn't need an MOT. That is now rolling on a 40-year basis, but she will still get an MOT because I don't trust myself. Carl Jones has a very long-winded question, basically going on about road pricing systems. Do you think this is a justified wealth tax on road pricing? Well, you've got a tax movement really one way or another. There used to be tolls back in the day, and that was how they did it, and then tax was seen as a better thing. I think tax is, I don't know why the donation bars are reducing. Tax is Yeah, I mean, you got to tax it one way or another. And as cars get more and more emission friendly and electric cars become a thing, where are they going to get the tax from? I can see why they're thinking of road pricing. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it would affect me out here in the middle of nowhere. Would you like to review my Fiat 500? I did a Fiat 500 fairly recently, so thanks for the offer. But yeah, I think we've done 500s for now. I want to drive an electric one. I'm trying to make that happen. Back to the question list. Blake's Den. What made you start producing vlogs, and how long did it take for the views to really take off? Well, it's a very fitting question because it's pretty much 5 years, I think. Yes, it is 5 years, almost to the week, since I started this YouTube channel. It started as Classic Hub because I already had a blog called Classic Hub. So I set up on YouTube as Classic Hub. And I don't think that's a knock at the door. I think that's the wind. And yeah, I started realizing Classic Hub wasn't a great name because I was doing stuff about electric cars. But it all began because I had the Nissan Leaf on test from Nissan, and I wanted to record my exploits in it. I'd never driven an electric. I wanted to capture the moment. And then I thought, well, I'll put this video on the internet. And for 4 years, I think that had something like 500 views maximum. But my channel really started to take off. There was the Proton last year that went viral in Malaysia. So hello if anyone in Malaysia is still watching, but I think they've all abandoned me since I got rid of the Proton. And so yeah, that went viral. That was a big push. But really, it's the Impreza project that has driven the growth on HubNut. And yeah, it's been very pleasing because as soon as I saw that car, I thought, oh yes, it's a car, it's going to get attention. It's also something I've always wanted to own, and I never thought I'd get the opportunity. So really, Project Impreza has just been the perfect project. And it's only really this year that the views have really taken off. I went viral in Malaysia and got 400,000 views on one video, but that didn't translate because the Malaysians weren't interested in Imprezas and 2CVs. So can you do a review of the Citroen Mahari versus 2CV? I'd like to. I have driven a Mahari now. I think there might be a report, I think on HubNut.org, there might be my thoughts on a Mahari, because I drove one for a feature, I can't remember. Don't hold me to that. It might have been a Saab 96 V4 I wrote about instead. One weekend at a 2CV camp, drove lots of cars. Buffering? Oh, I hope the buffering's not my end. I'm getting very good signal down here. So, yeah, hope that isn't a problem for everyone else. Oh, Fiat Brava 5-cylinder. Good shout, sir. Do your neighbors know of your internet fame? Yes, they're kind of getting used to it. Oh, hello, California. It's a lot warmer in California. Right. Need to stop looking at that. Excuse me. Go back to the question list. Of all the cars Dave Robinson asks you've owned, which were the most underrated and most overrated by motoring journalists? I probably should have given that question more thought. I mean, 2CVs were very badly regarded by pretty much everyone, and most fun you can have on four wheels. Yeah, I've always been a bit confused by that one. Most overrated car I've ever driven, possibly Mark II Golf. I mean, admittedly, mine was a driver, but it didn't interest me at all. It was really, really boring. Ben Tullett asks if a test might be possible on one of the Vela Rydal Railway steam trains. They're the ones that come past my house. I'm hoping to do something with the railway next year. Can't say more until we've actually done something. Recall Paul, would you consider a diesel car again? It seems logical considering the mileage you do. Yeah, I could consider a diesel. I don't like diesel though. And Datsun Laurel review will be coming just before Christmas. I predict is when you will see the Laurel review because I'm linking it to the next issue of Retro Japanese magazine. So that is coming. Cummins Land Rover, I should probably consider one in Staffordshire or Shropshire. It's got a huge Cummins truck engine in it. It was in my report from the 1000 Classics event. Mark C, would you consider road tripping to France and car hunting? Surely got to be some gems hidden out there. I think the gems are fast disappearing in France, but I still do have a hankering to go and buy a Citroen Ami and drive it home. Whether that'll ever happen, I don't know. It's got to be an Ami 6. It's got to be an Ami 6 saloon with a sloping rear window. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'd like to do Yugo reviews as well. Yeah. Maple Marmite, how would you refine the search parameter details on an internet site for your next or currently ideal vehicle? Usually I just search for everything under 500 quid and see if anything takes my fancy. It's that simple. Where's the Impreza? The Impreza went ages ago. I only borrowed it, and that was last seen at the NEC. If you look at the video of Tuck going to the NEC, I think the Impreza is in that. It's being raffled away by the publisher because they own the car. Steve Chalcraft asks, would you be adding to your fleet in the near future? And if so, what vehicle are we going to be dazzled with? I can't really say. There are various things I'm looking at. The problem is I don't want to sell anything at the moment. So, yeah, I'm kind of a bit stuck. There are cars that I still very much want to own. A Skoda Favorit is very high on the list. But do I want to own a Skoda Favorit more than I own, I like the Rover 45? And I'm not sure yet. You ever thought getting the old school two-stroke Saabs? Too expensive for me. Citroen 4CV does not exist. There is no such thing. Maybe you made a Renault 4CV. Very different cars. Very nice. When did anyone last see a Citroen GS8? It's been a while, I must admit. Volvo 240, I don't like them. They're not my favourite Volvo. And would you review an FSO? Yes, given half a chance, I certainly would. Right, back to the question list. No, I closed the application. Right, JV Chester, how many NGs have you test driven? Have you ever owned one? And which one would be on your wish list? Jim. I can't tell you how many MGs I've driven. I used to work in the classic press. I was driving MGs all the time, midgets and Bs, and I think I even drove a Magnet at some point, possibly. I don't believe I've driven a Metro, Montego, or a Maestro in MG flavour. I'd like to correct that. I've never driven a ZR, ZS, or ZT. I would like to correct that. Right, what does 2CV actually mean? Well, the 2 means 2 or deux. A chevaux or chevaux vapeur is steam horse, and that was a method of measuring brake horsepower, effectively, or it's on a fiscal rating. It's very different. So Traction Avant was a 15 CV. I seem to recall that Ferrari Testarossa is rated at 36 CV. I think there's a capacity or stroke measurement as well as the actual output of the engine. Right. Lots going on. I'm ignoring the question list again. So, yeah, any MG on my wish list? I'd be quite keen to try a ZS 180 because that's like my Rover 45, but sporty. So maybe one day. Jason Peters, any chance of doing a test drive in a Saab 96 estate? Well, there's an error because the 96 was always a saloon. The estates were 95s. And Eric Carlson once used a Saab 95 on the Monte Carlo Rally. And the reason he did, I think it's the only time an estate has competed on the Monte Carlo Rally, but he did that because the 95 had a 4-speed gearbox and the saloon didn't. So there you go. Brilliant man, Eric Carlson. I was very lucky to meet him once, and his wife, Pat Moss, before they both sadly passed away. Wonderful individuals, and rallying in a just completely different time where you'd start at the factory, drive to wherever the rally was, do the rally, and then drive home again. Incredible. Camin 1, what's your dream car, no budget, and what's a car you regret selling? Well, I always regret selling my Tobacco Leaf Rover P6 V8 Series 1, although that ate money at a terrifying rate, so it would need no budget. Dream car, I don't know, really. Dream cars are difficult because I keep thinking, Honda NSX or Noble M12 GTO or something like that, but impractical. They just do your head in. So I'm going to say Daihatsu Mira TRXX Avanzato. That's my dream car. I would love one. M Hatim Jaziri 02 says, what's the oldest car in your fleet? Well, that one's easy. It's Tuck. And with that, that is the questions done. So Tuck is a 1972. There's only 3 cars I've owned older than that. 2 Rover P6s. I had a 2-litre from 1966 as well. And a 1955 Austin Westminster. Oh, and I forgot a Bond to Keep. So that's 4. older than took loads. Would love a review of a Talbot Macho Rancho. You're not the only one. I would love to do that. IMAX the Daihatsu Charade once was rather scary. Yes, I've driven a Charade GTTI fairly recently for a magazine featuring retro Japanese, and I was just like, whoa, this amazing car, superb performance, and very amusing. Hillman Hunter, my dad used to have a Hillman Hunter. I've driven a Minx of the arrow shape. It's probably the closest I've come to driving a Hillman Hunter. Which of your cars are you currently thinking of taking to the Classic and Restoration Show? I don't know if I'm going to be there. I haven't got a stand to be on, and sadly it just doesn't make sense to have a HubNut stand. It's a very expensive show to be at. I would like to have the Fox ready for that show, but I don't know if I'm going to be there yet. I need to try and work it out. I need somewhere for my cars to be. Yeah, I'd like to do a Hunter review, and I'd like to do an Avenger as well. And I don't mean a Tiger. I would quite like to drive an estate, a Hillman Avenger estate. Wonderful. Have you ever been to Pembury? No, I haven't been to Pembury. I've been to Anglesey a couple of times, and I've driven around Anglesey in a BMW powered 2CV, which was hilarious. The video wasn't hilarious. It was just basically me screaming and swearing at the camera because it was so terrifying. Wonderful. Most stupidest car optional extra. I don't know on that one. There's so many to think of. Can you review a Triumph Dolly? I presume you mean the Dolomite there, Ted. Yeah, I would like to do a Dolomite. My favorite is the 1850. I've never driven one though. I've only driven the 1500, and the 1500 was a terrible engine with a really weak bottom end and not very revvy. Oddly ended up in the MG Midget in the later years of its life. Are you selling that HubNut hat? Not this particular hat. This is my hat. But if you would like a HubNut hat, we've only got 15 left. If you go to hubnut.fws.store, you can buy HubNut hats. We just ordered a new batch of calendars because we were selling out of those. So if you want a calendar, get in quick. And more t-shirt designs coming hopefully before Christmas as well. Would you like to review a Phaeton V10 TDI? Now that sounds like my sort of Volkswagen. So yeah, drop me an email, Charlie. Ian@hubnut.org. I'm flat out until Christmas. I've got lots of work to do. There probably aren't going to be that many videos coming up in the near future because I've got so much work to do. I've got to get Retro Japanese and Classic Jaguar to print before Christmas. So do a review of a Venturi Atlantique. Interesting wipers. I think they fitted Mercedes-Benz wipers with a jiggly wiper on to the Venturis. I always liked them. Very smart-looking French sort of supercar. Next time you're in Worcestershire, come and drive the Allegro. Oh, thanks, Mel. I would like that very much. Again, drop me an email, ian@hubnut.org. I'll add that to the list because I've not clocked up many miles in Allegros, and I would like to change that. Have you heard of a Nissan L Grand? Yes, because I put 2 Nissan L Grands on the Retro Japanese display Japfest Silverstone last year. So am I the only one that's frozen? No, I'm frozen as well. If you mean it's not streaming, that's not my fault. Did you find the lost Rover keys? Yes, they were in my trousers. They were in the wrong trousers. I blame Gromit. How's the decorating going? Not all that well, to be honest. We've both been very busy, so we haven't really been able to crack on with the house. The bathroom is still half finished, but Mrs. HubNut has been very busy working on a stand for our new basin, which I call a sink and upsetter in the bathroom. So hopefully that'll be coming up. Any videos of that Jap show? No, I don't think I've done videos of the Jap Fest shows because the problem is I'm working there. I don't have time to do videos. Would you consider a Nissan POW? I like the look of them, but having driven a Figaro, I fear I'd find the POW disappointing to drive. I like cars that have a nice bit of handling to them, and yeah, Nissan Micra K10s aren't really known for that. More Mrs. HubNut? Well, we'll have to see what we can do. She was meant to be going out for a drive in her Nipper, but the Nipper is still here. Did you ever get a new ignition switch for the Dacia? No, but I know Rich has been doing some work to try and bypass that. Still won't start, so I don't think it's the ignition switch. It could be the starter motor is just drawing too much power. and that's not allowing power to go to the ignition, we can probably sort something out to improve matters. Have you driven a Rover Tomcat? No, disappointingly. I would like to. Have you considered using a drone? Well, drones are difficult because this, HubNut is a business, and if you're shooting for business, you now need an aviator's license. They're really hotting up on that sort of thing because people keep doing stupid things like flying drones at airports and things like that. But I do know someone with a drone, and we are hoping to sort something out next year. So yeah, I think some drone footage of Tuck the Invercar driving over the Ellen Valley Mountain Road. Oh, marvelous. I would really like to do that. Have you ever driven a Saab 99? No, I don't believe I have. 900s, yes. 96 two-stroke, yes. Possibly. Will the mighty Dacia be coming back to Wales? Probably not. I'm not the co-owner anymore. I've sold my half of the Dacia to Rich. And the reason is simply that he's got the car. He's had the car since I went to the Retro Rides gathering. And I haven't been able to do anything with it, really. We did that one drive shaft change. But I just can't focus on that car. I have to get the Fox working. And that is becoming my next priority. And I haven't got time for Dacia stuff. So, yeah, we will still be covering the mighty Dacia because it's a very important car to the channel. And another regret, I think I regret not doing more with the Dacia. I wish I had more resources and time and money to throw a bit more at it and get it sorted out. But it's off the road for the winter anyway, so there's not an awful lot going on. Has Mrs. HubNut tried Tuck yet? No, not yet. We must sort that out at some point. Do you ever worry about having a crash in the Invercar or 2CV? Yes, to be honest. I mean, if I crash in this car and Ellie's got the wings off because I've just been faffing about with the new engine. Yeah, I do worry about accidents, and especially in the Invercar. The worrying thing about the Invercar is it gets so blown around in the wind, but there are times where you just don't quite feel in control of it. So yeah, I definitely take it easy. If it's windy, I don't go out. I mean, the 2CV gets blown about, but it's controllable. You can kind of fight the wind. You feel the weather in lightweight cars in a way you just don't in modern ones. It's one reason the Rover is so much more relaxing. Nipper as well. Could probably do the cam belt change, so maybe that'll be a video to do next year. Citroen Ami, great fun to drive. They are. I love them. Have you driven a Nissan Cherry Turbo? No, but I have driven a Nissan Cherry Europe. So have that one in your pipe or whatever they say. And I thought that was a great car. I wish I'd been able to do a video on it, but I didn't have time at that time. It belongs to a friend, but he lives on the other side of the country, many miles away. Did the keyring arrive safely? Did you send the Rover keyring, Simone? If you did, then yes, but it's too nice. And yeah, I'm scared to use it. Ooh, I thought it had a 2.8. I don't know what that reference is to. What do you usually do for Christmas? Stay home and go to family? Either or, really. Not quite sure what we're doing this year yet. It's planning, isn't it? And it's still November. I'm not planning yet. Just purchased a HubNut hat. Thank you very much. They are very warm, I can confirm. Try a rear engine Fiat 600. Yeah, I can imagine that's quite scary. Same for rear engine Skodas. The Hyundai Stella's got a 3.5 litre Rover V8. Belongs to a friend of mine. He's just putting some different carburetors on it, getting rid of the Strombergs. I think they're Strombergs. And he's hoping to pep up the Stella, so that should be quite exciting. Maybe I'll try another drive in it and see how it compares. Right, let's go and have a scroll back up the comments. Have you seen the Skoda Bugrat? Even better, Matthew, I've been in the Skoda Bugrat. If you don't know what the Bugrat is, it's a Skoda-based kit car, but it's basically a roll cage of a few plastic panels. And I got a lift across Luton. It was a fantastic day. My friend and colleague Peter Simpson was driving his bus to the Luton Festival of Transport. I was meant to be getting a lift with him back, so I'd borrowed the Vauxhall 2300S from the Vauxhall Heritage Collection, but his bus sprung a diesel leak, and I ended up getting a lift with Dave in his Skoda Bugrat across town, which is quite exciting. I'm just holding onto the roll cage, struggling to see as the wind just blasts your face. And then I jumped in the Vauxhall Frontera, the Vauxhall Heritage owned. They very kindly lent it to me so I could drive Peter Simpson's family back home while he waited for recovery. It takes quite a long time to recover a bus, it turns out. Have you ever knowingly bought a clocked car? No. I mean, to be honest, my cars are always dirt cheap, and I don't care whether the mileage is genuine or not. It has no bearing. It's one of the benefits of cheap motoring is it's not so much of an investment. There's nothing to protect. And I mean, I could claim this 2CV's clocked because she's just gone around the clock for the second time. I could claim she's only done 9,000 miles, but I wouldn't because I'm honest. I've even written a 2. So she's on 209,000 miles. Great video from the car show. Thank you. It was good fun to do. Very hard work. Ever seen a standard Vanguard? I've driven a standard Vanguard. T16 turbo, a 2.5 litre KV6. I'd always go V6 just because of noise. Best reaction from a member of public. I mean, there's so many when you're driving Tuk on the road. People are just like, and girls smile at you all the time in the way they don't if you're driving a Ferrari. So there you go. If you want to appeal to young ladies, then you need an Invacar and not a Ferrari. An important life lesson that they should teach in school. Yeah, I was proud of Tuk being at the NEC. Adam, she was, yeah, it was amazing to see the attention, the love for that little car. Yeah. Do you get recognised in public? Not really. I get recognised at channels, no, reading the word, at shows, but I'm kind of there usually trying to promote stuff, so I'm not surprised, and people are there because they know I'll be at the show. Did you ever sort Tuk's original engine? I think it's beyond repair, to be honest. It doesn't turn anymore, so I have a horrible feeling that some bits of crankcase or distributor have ended up wedged in the crankshaft, or perhaps the gear that drives the camshaft. So yeah, maybe one day that car will live again. But anyway, I think I'm going to wind things up now. I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to the one person who donated during this chat. And don't forget, you can also support HubNut by buying hats and calendars and T-shirts and mugs via the HubNut store, hubnut.fws.store, or just head to hubnut.org and follow the links. So yeah, thank you very much for taking part, and I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.